Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're just going to give everybody a few seconds to join here. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Ashley San Miguel. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Family and First Generation Connections Coordinator here with the Student and Family Connections Office at UCCS. I am one of the people that you'd be primarily interfacing with if you did reach out to the Student and Family Connections Office, because a lot of my role is supporting families directly. So I love connecting with families. I love hearing from you. And if you ever have anything you want to chat about, please just reach out to me directly or reach out to us through the Student and Family Connections Office. I really want to thank everyone for coming to our first webinar in the Supporting Your Student series. This one is going to be on student employment, UCCSLead, Mentor Collective, and the MOSAIC and LGBTQ Resource Center. Really, this is a good time for students to get engaged on campus, and these are some of our most active community and campus partners. So we just wanted to have them talk to you a little bit about what it means to get engaged with their offices and how your students can benefit from getting engaged. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Whitley Hadley, the director of the MOSAIC and LGBTQ Resource Center. Whitley, would you like to take over now? I'm going to stop sharing.
Yes, Ashley, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. I don't know where you're coming from, so good morning, afternoon, evening. I know it is the evening here, so good afternoon. My name is Whitley Hadley, she and they pronouns. I serve as director of our Multicultural Office for Student Access, Inclusiveness, and Community, and also the LGBTQ+ Resource Center here on campus. Some reminders before we get started is that we do have a Q&A function, so question and answer function. So if you have any questions that pop up, please add to the Q&A queue so that we will be able to answer all of those as we close out today. But I'm just going to be sharing a little bit more about the MOSAIC and the LGBTQ+ Resource Center to get us started. And let's see if I can do this correctly. Perfect. Alrighty. So also I cannot see anybody. So Ashley, would you mind unmuting just a bit to say if you can see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. So again, please use the Q&A function if you have any questions that come up throughout this. And for folks that just joined, again, Whitley Hadley, director of MOSAIC and the LGBTQ+ Resource Center. So MOSAIC has been a part of our community for 20 years. We did turn 20 years old this year. At the center of what we do is focus on holistic support through advocacy, ongoing personal development, and community cultivation for historically and currently marginalized UCCS students, or more specifically, students that come from historically and currently marginalized or minoritized communities. What that breaks down to, and who we see the most engagement from, are from student of color populations, first generation to college student populations, undocumented DACA asset student populations, and then also we see LGBTQ+ students in the space, and a growing number of students with disabilities tend to land in the MOSAIC space and are looking for programming, resources, or just an opportunity to connect in community. We are located on the first floor of the University Center. We have this wonderfully beautiful, colorful space that just joined into the community in 2021. So very excited to be celebrating 20 years on this campus. So some things that people often ask when thinking about diversity at UCCS is like, what makes UCCS diverse? We definitely promote ourselves as an accessible campus, as a diverse campus, as a campus that focuses on belonging. But what does that really break down to? It breaks down to that we have about 23% of our population identifies as first generation, so first in their family to be pursuing and attaining a college degree, a 4-year college degree, so a bachelor's degree. 55% of our campus identifies as female. 4% of our campus identifies as gender diverse, so that means, or usually breaks down to gender nonconforming, gender non-binary trans students. 1.4% of our campus identifies as international, 19% affiliated with the military, so veteran, military, active duty students. students from all 50 states and 82 different nations, 36%, and this is dated language, so 36% ethnic minority, which breaks down to 36% students of color, or you might hear the term BIPOC, BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color. 28% of our campus identifies as Pell Grant eligible. So we do have a higher population of students at UCCS that are part of like a low income community. And you'll see that in some of our support resources that we have on this campus, such as Clyde's Cupboard, as an example, which is a no need based pantry on our campus where students are able to, if they need to fill in items, grocery items, they're able to do that. If they need some basic care items like deodorant, toothpaste, that is also an option there. And then 7% of students on our campus identify as having a visible and or invisible disability. So, oh, apologies, I'm getting a phone call. So 7% of our students identify as visible and or invisible disabilities, which could look physical as a visible one as using a wheelchair as an example, or invisible such as navigating depression as an example, or high anxiety. So that's a little bit of the demographics of our campus, and it's not exhaustive. Something I think is unique to our campus, we have a wide range of age diversity. I believe this past year, our youngest graduate was 16 years old, and our oldest graduate, or most seasoned graduate, was 93 years old. So we also have age diversity. We have a lot of diversity when it comes to religion, faith, spirituality, to political affiliations, to language diversity. So there's so much more that's not captured in some of our basic institutional research demographic information, but helpful to know when I'm thinking about the profile and who are the folks that are landing on our campus. So what we also talk about as a value here at UCCS is inclusive diversity. So starting off with what is inclusion on our campus, that's active, intentional, and ongoing engagement with diversity. So again, thinking on that previous slide, we have folks from all different nations, all different languages, all different backgrounds. And so on our campus, we are committed to actively, intentionally, and in an ongoing way, engaging with that diversity in a very mindful way and in a very empathetic way also. So as I mentioned, that's one of our core values, inclusive diversity, and we value inclusive diversity as a foundation for our teaching and our scholarship. So you see it in our curriculum, you see it in our support services, you see it in students seeking to come to this institution because of that diversity also. So examples of the UCCS value of inclusive diversity look like all students have a global diversity and sustainability requirement. So students will be engaged in learning environments that focus in on a global community, a more diverse community, and thinking about sustainability and how do we keep our communities going forward. There's the new program, our TAP program, which is Textbook Affordability and Access Program. That was intentional focus in. Again, we have a higher population of folks that are low income. So TAP program is really a great accessible program that is trying to directly support our students and keep our students engaged on this campus without the burden of trying to figure out where they should get their textbooks or their resources. We also have affinity-centric spaces. So MOSAIC, as an example, which you'll hear a lot more about, but we also have the Veteran and Military Affairs Office, the Center for Religious Diversity and Public Life. We have lactation rooms and gender-inclusive housing options. And then our campus also has a land acknowledgement, and this is across the University of Colorado system. And with that, that's basically paying respect and honoring the original stewards of the land that we are currently on. And so we have some, I think, wonderful resources such as an Indigenous faculty in residence that's here this fall. We've renamed some of the trails, so students are investing in their wellness and walking around campus. They can learn more about the Ute people, which the Tava Trail and the Wikiup Trail are named within those communities. And then also across the CU system, you'll see that we have in-state tuition for Native American students affiliated with the 48 contemporary tribal nations. But to bring it back to MOSAIC, because that's my wheelhouse that I'll be speaking more on when it comes to our resources and programming, we offer a lot of different opportunities for students. At the basic, when it comes to resources, we also do have free basic needs products available to students at any time that the MOSAIC is open, which is typically between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. That doesn't mean I am there, but that means the center is open and students are more than welcome to go in and get things like pads, tampons, deodorant, condoms, toothbrushes, any of those additional resources that they may need. We have a reservable lounge for students. 3 reflection rooms, and the reflection rooms are really great for students that are looking to decompress, to engage in like a spiritual practice or meditation, or even, as many students do, just take a nap. It's a really nice space that they can go into. We do also offer free coffee, tea, and snacks in the center. We do have a couple of funding resources that we help manage. There is a student relief fund, so students that are not eligible for federal financial aid, such as, again, ASSET, DACA students, undocumented students. We do have a student relief fund that students can apply through our scholarships portal, and it's open throughout the year, and that can go towards assistance such as additional applications or towards fees. We help manage the Vice Chancellor for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion's Inclusive Excellence and Belonging Fund. So if students have an idea, a project, or even want to go to a conference, whether that is presenting research or going to a conference that's around deepening your skills and understanding around diversity, equity, and inclusion, we have a fund that students are able to apply for. And then we also partner with our Financial Aid and Student Employment Office to host a Scholarships 101 workshop that happens in the fall. So December 1st is when the application opens. And then we also host another workshop in the spring semester. So students have an opportunity to get hands-on support with applying for scholarships, with thinking about their essay questions and best ways to tell their stories. The A in MOSAIC stands for access. So we heavily focus on programming that helps strengthen access opportunities, and access opportunities as in like pathways to UCCS, but also sustaining, again, that equity and access skill set. So we do have a student equity council that's housed under the MOSAIC office, where students continue to get support with learning more about social justice, learning more about collective liberation and organizing. We also have an access program here at UCCS called our MOSAIC Learning Community, or the MOSAIC Gateway Program. In the MOSAIC Learning Community, the students, they take a GPS, which is Gateway Program seminar, and they take a GPS course with myself and my co-instructor, but then they also have a linked course in English that helps just strengthen navigational skills for students so that they best feel supported and empowered to navigate the campus successfully. We also do host things like our Queer Restoration Retreat, which is coming up in a month, to really, again, focus in on things like community empowerment and keeping those access pathways widened. Other things under access, we offer trainings and workshops in the center. So we see a lot of students that are trying to figure out what does allyship look like to them, or what can advocacy look like them, especially partnered with the different career paths that they may enter. And so we do offer trainings and workshops such as Safe Zone, which is focused on LGBTQ advocacy. We do an UndocuPeer workshop focused on advocacy with our undocumented community. And we also do things like our Inclusive Excellence and Belonging workshop, and then our allyship series. So just continuing to do that reflection and understanding of what does allyship look like in practice. The I in MOSAIC is inclusiveness. So the full-time staff in MOSAIC, we advise about 15 of the cultural and identity-centric organizations. That includes groups like our Asian Pacific Islander Student Union, the Indian Student Alliance, Black Student Union, our Latinx Student Union, the Feminist Club, and a couple of others underneath that umbrella. And we support them in a lot of different ways with hosting their events, with getting funding for the events, with helping publicize, but then also just that active advising as they are navigating things around leadership and cultural identity development, and just having like a wonderful experience. We do offer service and volunteer opportunities. Many of them show up around the Martin Luther King Jr. Days of Service and Action in the spring. But we also do have opportunities throughout, which include things like our You Belong project, focused in on creating a sense of belonging on our campus and celebrating the diversity on our campus. The C in MOSAIC is for community. I think when folks think about MOSAIC, this is probably the first thing. So maybe we should restructure and start with the C. But C is community, and that looks like a lot of different things. We do a lot of things around celebrating identity, and so we host kickoffs such as our coming up September 15th is Hispanic Heritage Month, so we do a kickoff for that where we have food and dancing and things around culture, and then a panel where people speak about identity. And it's a great way to celebrate, but also a great way to learn how can we all invest again in creating an inclusive campus culture. And so we do that for all of the different identity heritage months, like Hispanic Heritage Month, like Women's History Month, like Black History Month. We partner with our Language Center for Dia de los Muertos. And then we also do the Pikes Peak Pride Parade downtown, and partner with Student Life for the annual drag show, which students really enjoy. And at the end of the experience for students, or let me say the transition, not the end, for the transition out of UCCS into alumni life, we do partner with Student and Family Connections and International Affairs to host the FAM graduation celebration. And that's our first generation and multicultural graduation celebration. So students that have been involved in the MOSAIC, in the LGBTQ plus Resource Center, in our First to Go program, which focuses on our, again, first generation to college student population, or students that have been involved in our international community are all honored with a stole or a cord. And we just have a wonderful celebration to recognize their accomplishments and just have like one last community opportunity where we're all together and having a good time. So that's the general sense of the, again, MOSAIC and LGBTQ Resource Center, or if it's easier for you to remember, our Multicultural and LGBTQ plus Resource Center. We do have our 20th anniversary celebration this fall. So this is something students, families, alums, community members can all look out for, where we will be celebrating 20 years within this community with past faculty and staff, but also recognizing the students and all of their work here. So that is MOSAIC. Let's see if I can get back to the screen. And again, if you have any questions, things that came up, please put those in the Q&A box, and I will be transitioning over to Cody Parrish, who is with our UCCSLead program.
As Whitley said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, because I know we're all coming from different places. As a reminder, there is a Q&A function, so if you do have a question, you can always throw that into the Q&A chat. Or if you'd like, at the very end of this webinar, we'll have another section where you can ask questions. So feel free to either throw them in that chat or to hold them until the end. But we'll make sure that we answer any questions that you have. With that, my name's Cody. I use he and pronouns. I'm the program director for UCCSLead in the Chancellor's Leadership class. And with our program, Whitley talked a lot about access. And that's really what we're trying to do. We want to make leadership accessible to everybody, because one of the common misconceptions about leadership is that it is something that you only have or you only are if you have a title that affirms it. And what we know is that's just not true. When you talk with CEOs, a lot of times they'll say the most important leader in our organization is not me, it's my secretary. My secretary is the one who holds everything together, who does so much for our team, for our operations, that they're actually the most important leader of this organization. And so our approach is really trying to democratize leadership and empower all students to see themselves as leaders. And then, of course, to develop students into ethical, world-changing leaders. So with UCCSLead, one thing that makes us unique is that not only are we a free student leadership program on campus, we're open to all students. It doesn't matter if your student, your child is a senior, a freshman. It doesn't matter if they're an undergraduate student, a graduate student, a math major, or a fine arts major. Anyone is open to come to our program. And at other institutions, normally you have to pay for a program like UCCSLead. You might have to apply for it, or the student would have to be nominated by a staff or faculty member. And in this case, they don't have to do any of those things. They can just sign up and show up to our events. And that's what makes it really an amazing resource for them to build themselves up into the most professional and marketable version of themselves as they're preparing for scholarship applications, maybe already job applications, part-time jobs, because so many of our students already work, or maybe it's an internship application, or maybe they're preparing for post-graduation and whatever that career is, that next move. But that's what we are here for. We're here to help build your student into the best version, most marketable version of themselves. And we do that with a series of programming that basically comprises 4 pillars of our program. And we start that with our landmark program, which is our Game Changer. So Game Changer is focused on leadership fundamentals. What we know is that you can't lead others if you don't know how to lead yourself, if you aren't aware of your own values, of your own strengths, of your own areas of growth. And so what we do is in Game Changer, this is a half-day activity, or not activity, but program. Starts usually around 10 a.m. and goes until 3 p.m. And oftentimes it's on a Saturday, but sometimes we'll have Friday Game Changers. So for some students who may work on Saturdays, the Friday one might actually work better for their schedule. But with these programs, we mix high energy activities with low energy activities. So some students may feel overstimulated with one thing, and so they can maybe take a step back, but then they can embrace that challenge with some of the other activities that we've got. But we teach them fundamental leadership skills that are focused on their personal leadership style, because we can't prescribe leadership one way to lead, because we know that's just not how it works. Everyone leads differently. And that's informed by our experiences, by our identity, by the things that we feel like we're strong in, the things that we feel like we can grow in. And so we help our students identify those values that lead them, those strengths and areas of opportunity. We talk to them about the role of emotional intelligence in building trust with the people around you, navigating conflict. We also talk about mindset and how if you have a fixed mindset, then it's going to be very hard for you to grow, for you to learn new things. And that's going to trickle into other areas of your productivity and long-term success. Because we know that if you can't evolve, you can't be consistently successful. So we teach them about growth mindset. And then by the end of it, here's the best part. By the end of it, all students who attend our Game Changer program will receive a graduation cord that they can wear when they walk the stage. They can also receive a leadership certificate that they can put on their resume. So it builds their resume and it builds their regalia all in one go. And again, this is open to all students. So freshmen can go, seniors can go, and it fills different needs. At Game Changer, we try and connect students to different opportunities to put their leadership into practice. And so one of those opportunities might be our second pillar, which is our day of service. And this is where we connect students with local nonprofits in the Colorado Springs community. And we try and build that relationship for students so it doesn't feel so intimidating, especially if service is a value that they already have. So we will gather all the students into usually Burger Hall. We'll have different sites. So this year or this semester, we're working with a food bank. We're also working and doing a creek cleanup. We're working with a group that decorates bags to deliver meals to people who can't get those meals for themselves. And those are just 3 of the 5 groups that we're working with. We'll bus the students to these areas. They'll do 2 hours of service, sometimes a little bit more than that, depending on how long it takes for them to get trained. We'll then bring them back to campus. We'll feed them really good food. We'll do a debrief so they can talk about what they learned. And then they'll be set to go. And hopefully that starts the ball rolling on getting those relationships built with those local nonprofits. And then that student will feel more comfortable reaching out and maybe creating a regular schedule of service. And then for our third pillar, this is one more opportunity. If students they come to our Game Changer event, maybe they've gone to a day of service and they really like leadership and they want more from it, they can always go to our annual conference. So we have a student leadership conference every fall in November. And at this conference, students can get a deep dive into a trending leadership topic. So last year, our theme was Jedi in Action, a new hope for justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. This year, it's a totally different theme. It's emerging trends in leadership. We kept it broad because there are so many things that we can talk about when it comes to leadership that we want to bring in all perspectives from all disciplines. And what's great about this conference is we always have a keynote speaker, usually someone from the community or from broader, maybe the state, who comes in. And then we also have a bunch of breakout sessions, and students can choose which breakout session makes the most sense for them. So maybe there's one breakout session focused on wellness. There's another one focused on team management and delegation. There might be one on conflict management, and they can choose which ones they want to go to. And what's also really cool about this is we make sure that half of all of our breakout sessions are delivered by students. So we're always seeking students to give some of this content because we know that students are leaders too. It's not just staff and faculty and community leaders. We know a lot of our students have a lot of leadership experience that they can also give, and we can also learn from. Because we have a very diverse student group, as Whitley was pointing out. We have students who are non-traditional, who maybe have served in our military, or maybe who are coming back and maybe they retired and now they're coming back for more education. Whatever it is, they have something to offer. And so that's what we're trying to do, is bring everyone to the table and then have a new theme every year that we can learn about. And so that's one opportunity that students have available to them, which is amazing. And then our final pillar is our workshops. And so these are specialized little micro workshops, usually about an hour, hour and a half, that we deliver to different programs and classes on campus. Usually someone from that program or that class will request us to come in and deliver these workshops, but they can range from professionalism and talking to students about how they can cultivate their own personal sense of professionalism. We talk about ethics and the role ethics play in our leadership. We also have a workshop on creativity and how to cultivate a culture of creativity, not just within yourself, but among a team. And then we're building other workshops too, but these 4 pillars create UCCSLead. And again, this is an invaluable resource to all students. It's just great that our campus offers this, and it's free of charge. Here, and I'm going to show you our website so you can find more about this. But I'm going to share my screen real quick. So if you go to UCCS's website and just type in UCCSLead, you'll be able to find us on the website. So that's us. And then this is our motto, is everyday leadership. Everyone is a leader, and we lead through all these little bitty things and big things that we do every single day of our lives. And so we really encourage students to practice their leadership every single day. So we have our website. We also have a text campaign. So if your student is really interested in leadership opportunities, but maybe they're struggling to remember all of them, they can just sign up for our text campaign, text LEAD to 71444. And then we'll send an update about once every week to 2 weeks about a new opportunity on campus, be it with us, or maybe it's a scholarship, maybe it's SGA has elections, or they're seeking candidates to run for different positions. We send all of that out. And so then we have just little blurbs about each of our programs and where students can register. We also have some data, and then our Instagram running reel. And then if we come over here to Mountain Line Connect, this is where all organizations on campus have a presence, and you can find us on Mountain Line Connect. So if your student's interested in registering for one of our events, then they can just come over here to Mountain Line Connect, go to put in UCCSLead, and then just find all of our events here, click on one. And then once it pops up, they can just sign in up here and they can register. So super simple. And again, great opportunity for students who are looking for leadership development as they're preparing for different opportunities on campus. So at this point, oh, we've got a question. If my student is shy, would they still be? Yes, they totally would. They would absolutely be successful and lead. We try and really, we have peer facilitators, and those peer facilitators help basically engage with all the conversation, lead those conversations. So if a child a student is really shy, won't be an issue at all. And by the end of it, a lot of them get to know each other on first name basis, and they get pretty comfortable with each other. We teach them how to juggle. So that's usually a pretty effective bonding activity for them. Let's see. And then, is the conference for UCCSLead on campus? Oh, that's a good question. It is on campus. So won't need to drive. If they live on campus, they can take the shuttle over to Burger Hall in the University Center. So it's definitely on campus. They won't have to go anywhere. Anytime we do have anything off campus, though, we try to make sure that transportation is available. And then, yes, you can use your service hours on your resume. So there's specific ways to do that. You can have service and then we always encourage students to be very intentional with the ways in which they go about earning service hours, and try and find ways to make those service opportunities connect with their professional goals, their career goals, and that way it just augments their resume and gives them an example of something that they can talk about that they did for an interview. So with UCCSLead, they don't, this question is, do they get faculty mentors through LEAD? With this, they would not. There are other programs on campus that students can basically work through to have a faculty mentor. Research is a really popular way to do that. But there are other mentor programs with staff, with other students, and with faculty that students can find. And then we have one, is LEAD required? It's not required. For some classes, I will say that they have asked their students to go to LEAD, but generally speaking, it's not a requirement for all students, but it is a resource for all students. All right, so I think I've answered all the questions about LEAD. If you have anything else pop up, please feel free to throw it into the Q&A chat or wait until the end and we'll be happy to answer anything. I apologize because I'm not exactly sure, Ashley, who comes next. Is it student employment?
Yes, so it's student employment. Shannon will be coming next.
Perfect. Shannon, after.
Awesome. Well, while we're getting that going, I just want to say welcome, much as the other presenters have said. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. My name is Shannon Cable, and I'm the Director of Student Employment here at UCCS. And not to be biased or silly in any way, but certainly with all due respect to everyone else, I believe that student employment is one of the best, if not the best way for a student at UCCS to get involved on campus and to get connected, and at the same time to earn some money and make, you know, invaluable connections and create soft skills that they can take with them no matter where they go. I'm going to click. Can you click to the next one? Ashley, thank you. So what we do in student employment, it is hard to encapsulate what student employment can mean to a student or does for our campus with a couple of slides, but I will try to use words to sort of help everyone imagine what it's like and what student employment is like at UCCS. So the words are that we employ over 1,800 students in part-time positions on campus. And what that means in practice is that there are more student employees on our campus than any other employment group combined. So without our student employees on campus, UCCS could not function. Our student employees do anything and everything that we can find as far as an opportunity for them, from entry levels, low skilled positions, all the way up to some of our most prestigious research and major related positions on campus. So we employ undergraduate students and graduate students, and we employ students who have no financial aid work study and are strictly basic hourly employees at the campus. We employ students who do have a work study, who are supported by that bit of their financial aid package. And we help to place some of our students who have work study at local off-campus nonprofit organizations that partner with us to support those work study students. So UCCS is just the most amazing place for your student, if they're interested, to look for a job, find a job, and then become connected with their colleagues, with their staff and faculty. This is another place where we do see mentorship happening, is your student may find a coworker or a staff or faculty member who is their supervisor, who really helps mentor them, not only in the soft skills that they're using in the workspace, but also in general navigating campus and navigating the resources that we have available. We talk a lot about how working on campus is a great way to earn money while staying connected. And the way that you find a job on campus is to utilize our online job posting board called Sean's Place. It stands for Student Employment Assistance Network, and we lovingly call it Sean. Sean is a resource that is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your student can log in, or if you are a student attending tonight, hello. You can log in using your regular UCCS username and password. And we post every single on-campus job opportunity on Sean. It's a requirement for it to be posted there. We also post a variety of off-campus positions that are out in the community. So really, whatever kind of interest your student might have should at some point or another be posted on Sean. And then if we could go to the next slide, Ashley. We have a ton of resources for your student. So not only do we have a basic how-to guide of how do you use our job search functionality, our job search engine, but we partner with our career center, our T. Rowe Price Career Center, to help students build resumes, to work on interview skills, to make sure that they are ready for this process. At UCCS, we do require all students to go through the job search process as a way to help them develop those soft skills so that when they are leaving UCCS to pursue that career type position, that perhaps and hopefully they've been through a realistic interview process. So we don't place anyone in a job. A student must search for a job on Sean. It's all self-referral, and then go through an interview process and then go through that hiring process. So we try to make the entire job search environment, hiring environment and working environment at UCCS as realistic as possible, and also as supportive and developmental for any student as possible. So as I mentioned, we have a ridiculous number of really cool, amazing positions, and they open at different times throughout the year. So Sean is a resource all year long. And so with that, I wanted to take a look at some of the questions that we have that are specific to student employment. One of them says, this is a common question. It says, I'm worried that my son couldn't balance a job and schoolwork at the same time. How much is required of them? So really, this is dependent upon your student, but we typically see students on our campus work around 10 hours a week. And it really depends. We see students who start off slow with a few hours here or there and start to really enjoy that connection and learn more about the resources that are on campus through their employment side of the house that can actually support their academic resources that they might need as a student. And so we've seen students start off slow and then become really active in that job. We have students who kind of jump right in right away. But we certainly on our campus foster a philosophy of flexibility. We do not allow our students to work during any of their scheduled class periods, and all of the on-campus departments do our best to work our schedules in a way that best meets the need of the student. But it can be difficult to balance both. Let's see, is there a minimum wage for minimum age, for students employed on our campus? I think we meant wage, but I'll answer both questions. So as the chat is reading, we do have a $15 minimum wage on campus. Our pay ranges go anywhere from $15 an hour upwards of $25, dependent upon what type of position is and what experience and skill level the employer is looking for. As far as age goes, we actually employ or have employed students as young as 15. And of course, those laws are different, but we work with that student to make sure that if they want to work on campus and we're able to do that, that they have an opportunity to work. Let's see. So this question says, if my student wants to work in a specific office, but they don't have jobs open yet, what can they do? So like I mentioned, positions open up either seasonally or once a student who is currently occupying that position might graduate, or some other reason that there might be an opening will come up. I would highly encourage the student to contact that specific department and ask, or they can contact me and I can contact the department on their behalf to ask when they might be looking to hire or when they might be looking to fill a position in that specific role. So that way the student can know when to pursue a job opening in that office. Of course, when that office is ready to post that position, they'd be required to do so on Sean. All right, it looks like I might have answered all of the student employment specific questions, but most importantly, I do want to share that working on campus is an excellent opportunity for your student to get connected with every other office on campus, with a lot of other students on campus, to create those really unique bonds that you might find in a workspace. So if your student is interested, has concerns, if you're interested or you have concerns, if you have very specific questions that are unique to your student's financial situation or to how does their work situation or work flexibility kind of meet their financial aid if they have some. If your student has a work study and you have questions on how does that work, how does that sort of translate to finding a job on campus, please don't hesitate to reach out. My team and myself are available and very excited to welcome your student into our student employment family. So with that, I would just hope that everybody would reach out if they need to, and I'd like to hand it over to Ellen Burkhart, who is our Director of Student and Family Connections.
Thank you, Shannon. Hi, everyone. I've met some of you before through different webinars and orientations and other things. I am Ellen Burkhart. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Director for Student and Family Connections. I'm really excited that Ashley invited me in as a guest presenter tonight. So I get to wear a slightly different hat that I help manage the Mentor Collective program. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then I've also been kind of keeping an eye on the Q&A as well, so I might have a little bit to add there, and then I'll turn it back over to Ashley. So I want to start with just a quote that I actually just received today from a mentor who was reporting about a conversation that they recently had, or an experience that they recently had with one of their mentees. So again, I think this will kind of set us up to talk about what the program is and how it can impact our students. So let me share my screen. So in this quote from a student, they said, "My mentee and I first met with the common goal of establishing a mentor-mentee relationship. We understood that this connection would be more than just professional. It would be personal and transformative. Our initial interactions centered around getting to know each other on a deeper level, transcending the typical surface level conversations. We embarked on a quest to uncover the layers of our personalities, our dreams, and our aspirations. Our discussions went beyond the superficial, delving into the intricacies of our personalities, our strengths, and our areas for improvement. We exchanged insights about our communication styles, problem-solving approaches, and strategies for maintaining a healthy work-life balance. These conversations were instrumental in fostering a sense of trust and mutual respect between us. We also discussed strategies for building a strong academic network, including engaging with professors, participating in extracurricular activities, and seeking research opportunities. I emphasize the importance of setting clear, achievable goals and maintaining a growth mindset to navigate the academic landscape successfully." In our in our Mentor Collective program, we actually go through a third-party company, which is called Mentor Collective, who helps us to match students who have been at UCCS for at least a year, who are in good academic standing, with first-year freshmen and transfer students. And so basically, a lot of our mentorship really takes form through a text platform where they can text each other questions back and forth. Our mentors are trained, but limited. They only get like 45 minutes of training, and we really lean on the fact that they are a friend, that they have experience on campus, and then if something comes up, they have resources on campus, such as myself and others in Student and Family Connections, to help guide them. Students, when they're signing up to either become a mentor or a mentee, they have the opportunity to fill out a survey, which is basically used to help match students appropriately. So we aim first to match off of academic interest area or major, but then after that, we've really tried to connect transfer students with other transfer students, first-generation students with other first-generation students, because the experiences that they go through are often a little bit different. Within the program, students can ask a lot of different questions. This was one that we just have them report on their conversation that they have. And this was just a summary that it came, like I said, it came in today and really just kind of met everything that we hope to see in a mentor. And while all mentorships may not necessarily be to this level, we have heard so many great connections with students. And then if students are like not connecting with their mentor, they can always request to be paired with a new mentor. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again to show you and your student how they can connect with a mentor through the Mentor Collective. I'm going to start first by just kind of bringing you to the Student and Family Connections website. We're sfc.uccs.edu, and we're constantly adding to this, and Ashley will go over a little bit more of what we do. But if they go there and then click on Mentor Collective, it will walk through what the Mentor Collective is, how they can get involved, and then there's a couple of videos that they can watch if they're looking for a mentor. Again, they haven't been here yet for a year. They can request a mentor here, or if they want to become a mentor after their first year, they can sign up here. So it's pretty easy to become a mentor. Once they do the matching survey, there is that training that they need to complete. And once they complete that training, then we will match them to a mentor. So that is definitely an area of a way that students can get engaged on campus. Within that, we also send students who serve as a mentor information on how to include that mentorship into their resume, so they'll get that information. Also, students that become a mentor, so again, this wouldn't necessarily be your student if they're in their first year, but they have the opportunity later. They can get a LinkedIn badge once they complete that. So I think it's important to show and highlight that they have not only been a mentee, but that they have the skills to become a mentor and that they've applied those skills through this experience. Beyond that, I noticed a few things in the Q&A that I also wanted to mention, if that's okay. I think one of them was really, how do people balance work, life, clubs, all of those things? And I think that's a fair question to ask. We definitely have students who are working 15 or 20 hours on campus. Some students work more off campus, and they're trying to balance 15 credit hours and being involved in all the clubs. Certainly they have to prioritize. But our office also, in addition to the Mentor Collective, which is limited training, our office also has peer coaching, which is a lot of training. So they're peer students still, but students that can sit down and have those conversations about what is going on in your life. How can we help to manage your time? We can give some tools for how to manage your time. We really focus in our office on helping students to connect to resources, help them to foster that sense of belonging. So this conversation is an awesome conversation to be having, because by getting involved on campus, it's a great way to get that sense of belonging started. We also work to generate learning. So how do we ask the right questions to get students to think critically and then to be able to apply that critical thinking? And then we have that individualized support through peer coaching. We also have our assistant director who will meet with students as well in a coaching kind of format. So we have a lot going on, but I wanted to mention that because I think sometimes it's just nice for students to have that person that they can sit down with to just talk about their schedule, talk about how things are going. Sometimes they listen to people who are not mom or dad or grandma and grandpa. They're going to listen to that peer a little bit better. I don't know how many of your parents, or of you that are parents, have heard the mom or dad, and you kind of get the eye roll. I definitely have experienced that as a mom. And so I think sometimes just having that peer student to connect with can make a big difference. So without talking too much more, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ashley to share a little bit more about student and family connections. And then I think she will also be leading our Q&A this evening.
Hi, hello. Yes, let me get this up. It wants to share. Oh, here it is. Okay. So Ellen and I are both from the Student and Family Connections office. We have a lot of programming under our office, but we do 7 primary programs. One of those is Early Alert, which is primarily to your student. And if your student is identified as struggling in class or maybe looking a little bit disengaged, we'll get an alert and we can start reaching out to them and seeing what is going on and how we can maybe connect them to resources to get them back engaged, or getting them maybe tutoring if that's what they need. family connections. That's what I do. And that's what Ellen does as well. And that's me hosting these webinars, reaching out to you via the newsletters and our Facebook page, and just making sure that families aren't getting lost in any of the programming or any of the transition to that first year of college and beyond. First to Go is our first generation programming at UCCS. We're kind of revamping it this year, and we really want to honor, uplift, and just celebrate all of the hard work that our first generation students do, and also all of the hard work that their families did to get them here. Learning communities are a part of our peer coaching, and it's working with students and staff and faculty who all have a common like academic interest and goals, and seeing how they can take that beyond the classroom. Mentor Collective, Ellen just talked about. And a lot of the other stuff we do is just outreach and support and making sure that our families and our students are doing well. And if they need anything, we can give it to them. And our peer coaching, as we've mentioned before, our students, our peer coaches, can sit down with your student, work on time management, study skills. We hear all the time, like, I didn't have to study in high school and I don't know how to study and I'm just figuring it out. Our students can help with that. They probably also went through that. So yeah, we have a lot of really great programming here. We can start looking through the Q&A to see if we have any new questions. So if the presenters want to turn their cameras on, and let's see if we've had anything pop up, or we can address some of the popular ones as well. So the first one I'm seeing is there a MOSAIC newsletter?
Yes, there is a MOSAIC newsletter. So we have an email newsletter. It is on our webpage, which I can probably share in the chat, or can I send it to you, Ashley? Which one would you prefer?
You can send it to me.
Okay.
And then
I'll
I
send
can
to
put it in
Ashley.
the chat or as a question or something.
Yes, it is a weekly newsletter. So if you'd like updates to see what campus life looks like, you're more than welcome to sign up for it.
Awesome. Something I think has been a common theme through like what we've been talking about is, how do students know what events are going on? I think programming does calm down a little bit after the first few weeks. So how can students keep up with what's going on? And anyone can take that one.
I can chime in. So students have a website called Mountain Lion Connect. And with that, they go on there. Any organization or club on campus that is going to host an event, they have to put their event on there. So students can go on there and see all of the events that are going on now until the end of the semester. And they can also put like little filters and categories in there. So if this weekend they're like, I don't want dining hall food, I want free food, it'll also pop up free food for this event. Or you can categorize it with, I want to go to a DEI event. And you can put that filter on there and it'll show you all the events that are going to be under that category. So they can really hone in and find something that interests them. It's just on them to go on there and find it.
And they can RSVP through Mountain Lion Connect, right? And
Yeah.
that's how they'll get updated on stuff? Okay.
Yeah, they can RSVP on there. I know a lot of events do have caps for how many people they can have attend, so RSVPing is the best way to have that. Otherwise, other ones like Student Life, I know a good chunk of theirs is just come whenever you want. When they run out of stuff, they run out of stuff.
Sounds good. This was a pretty common one, Whitley. Are MOSAIC events open to everybody? And is it okay if they are still learning about multicultural and LGBTQ sort of resources and it's all sort of new to them?
Yes, it is. So that is why we are called MOSAIC. Previously, in our first iteration, we were called Student Multicultural Affairs. But as we continue to grow and as our university continues to grow, there were more students that were saying, I also want to be engaged in a multicultural education. And what we believe in MOSAIC is that everybody has a culture, which means everyone has an opportunity to engage in creating a stronger sense of inclusion and belonging on our campus. So MOSAIC events are free and open to the UCCS community. And it is okay if it is your first time even hearing acronyms. I know this is something we joke about, is like some folks, they hear LGBTQ and they're like, why are we saying random letters? And that's normal. Like that's a part of the growth process and the learning process. And so we have a mix of things that are social and celebratory. We have a mix of things that are also educational in nature, some that are service-based. So I think there's a little bit of everything for everyone.
Awesome. Thank you. Shannon, can you talk a little bit about the relationship between a supervisor and a student employee? Because I saw at least one question that was like worried that a student might be worried that they were being supervised by another student. And so I know it's a staff member.
Yes, so on our campus, we all student employees are supervised by either a faculty or staff member. And we do that so that there is that experience and that authoritative person who is leading and mentoring and training that student. We do, as a way to help students on our campus get leadership experience, they'll also support progressive promotion opportunities on our campus. So some offices or departments have a structure where a student might be a student manager or a student leader, where they might assign tasks or be leading a group through a specific service, like they might be working in a coffee shop and they might be like the lead student doing morning service for breakfast and coffee. And so they would be somebody that on the floor in that moment would be working right alongside the staff or faculty supervisor to help support that group of students. And we offer leadership training to those students, and we offer a lot of other training so that student can be a leader, but would not actually have evaluative or supervisory authority over another student employee.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that clarification. Really appreciate that. I'm not seeing any new questions. So unless anyone has something else that they want to add, I'm going to go ahead and plug our YouTube channel. Okay, so all of these webinars are recorded. So if you heard something and maybe you forgot it, or if this was just a lot of information, we do have a YouTube channel where everything will be posted later. And so it's at UCCS Student Family Connections, because we have a very long title. So you can see it posted here in a few days, and it'll be titled the same thing. So please come subscribe. You can keep up with us here, and we'll also post it to our Facebook. We'll link it in our next newsletter. But we'd love it if you'd engage with us on here and on all of our other platforms. Thank you so much for joining us for this webinar. We all really appreciate it. And thank you so much to Whitley, Samantha, Shannon, Ellen, and then Cody, who's had to go already, for presenting tonight. I really, really appreciate it. But that is it for us, I think. So